26-year-old Courtney Clenney is a social media star. She has over 2 million followers and has built a very successful career. While she's very visible on Instagram, she also has an OnlyFans page. This is a place where her fans can pay her through the app for access to videos and images you will never, ever see on Instagram. She was so successful that she was living in a plush apartment in Miami, where monthly rents are between $10,000 and $12,000 a month. She was living with her boyfriend, Christian Oboncelli, until April 3rd of 2022, when Courtney used a knife to kill him. She is claiming self-defense, but prosecutors say she was the aggressor the day she killed Christian, just like she was the aggressor in this elevator 2 months before the killing. What exactly was going on in this volatile relationship? Who was the victim and who was the abuser? And how did that knife end up killing Christian? We'll take a closer look as we investigate the Courtney Clenney OnlyFans murder case. I'm Vinny Politan. Thanks for joining us. There are a lot of young people who are making a lot of money online, and they do it as influencers. Courtney Clenney, whose name online was Courtney Taylor, made a lot of money doing that. Here are some of her Instagram pictures, and on Instagram, you're an influencer. You get a big following, and then people want to pay you to influence your followers to buy certain products or go to certain restaurants. It's a real business, and it's for real money. But Courtney Clenney also made money taking her clothes off and performing certain acts, sometimes alone and sometimes with her boyfriend, Christian Oboncelli. Now, this wasn't on Instagram, this was on OnlyFans, and this is a place where fans of hers can pay money and then have access to these images. And she made a whole lot more money doing that. 7 figures worth of money. Big time money. Money that led to a lifestyle where she and Christian would travel around, go to Vegas, live in Miami, beautiful apartment, all of that. But it all ended when Courtney took a knife and took the life of Christian. Here's her mugshot from that day. Now, let me get to the autopsy, because I want to zero in and focus in right now on how Christian Oboncelli died. Dr. Hutchins determined that the cause of death was a stab wound to the chest and the manner of death was homicide. Okay. Specifically, though, he found that the victim was stabbed and the knife punctured the subclavian artery in his right chest. The knife entered in a downward angle to a depth of 8 centimeters. Okay, so for most of us looking at that, reading that, it's like, okay, so she had a knife and she stabbed him. But that's not what she said happened. I want you to take a listen to her police interview, where she is describing what she says happened and how that knife ended up in Christian Oboncelli and ended up taking his life.
So I grabbed my knife and I said, "Don't come anywhere closer to me." I had absolutely no intention of using it. I'm on the phone with my mom, and he's coming at me like he's gonna grab either the phone or like the knife or something. And so I was just like, I was like, don't come any closer. It's coming at me, and I threw it. And I meant for it to go.
How far away was he?
Well, I was by my fridge, and he was like by the edge of one of the chairs of the sofa.
Okay.
Like
comparing to what
10 feet. I'm trying to think in my head.
So she's saying that she threw the knife, at him, and that's how he died. But he was coming at her, right? So she's coming at him, and then he throws the knife. Here's what the same doctor who did the autopsy testified to at a hearing about whether or not he believes that this knife could have been thrown.
Based on the information you received that the defendant was alleged to have thrown this knife, do your observations support that?
I'm not an expert in knife throwing. If the person who supposedly did this is an expert knife thrower, and the knife is the type of knife that you can throw, I guess that could have happened.
So let's get to the bottom of this question, which is it possible, does it make any sense that Courtney Clenney could have thrown the knife at Christian, and that's how the knife ends up in his chest? Let's bring in our own expert. Joining us, distinguished scholar of applied forensics, host of the Body Bags podcast, and professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University, Joseph Scott Morgan is with us tonight. Joseph, great to see you tonight. Thanks so much. Let's talk about how that knife could possibly end up in his chest. Does this story that she's telling investigators, make any sense to you based upon what we learned from the autopsy?
No, it doesn't whatsoever. And keep in mind the forensic pathologist that you guys had up on the stand in that pretrial motion or hearing, he's talking about a downward angle of this knife. So downward means that she would have been in a dominant position relative to him if she was even capable of throwing this knife and exerting enough velocity and at the proper release point. This knife that you guys have done a great job, production always does a great job with Court TV, by the way. This image, this knife is actually a kitchen knife. This is not a throwing knife, which has a certain balance to it. People that throw knives know this. And so I think she's kind of reaching for something here, if you will. This knife actually clips the subclavicular artery. And if folks at home will find your collarbone right here, your clavicle, okay? There's a major artery that runs right beneath here. And I don't know if you recall, Vin, you could hear him, I think, on a 9/11 call. I have a memory of this where he's kind of drifting off. And I can tell you this, though we see a lot of blood at the scene, he would have had probably a chest full of blood as well. He would have literally been drowning internally within his chest, and it's a slow death. And you can hear him kind of gradually fading out, losing consciousness.
How much force does it take? And again, the knife punctured the artery in his right chest. The knife entered in a downward angle to the depth of 8 centimeters. Yeah.
So it's going to take quite a bit of energy in order to do this. And you have to think about, and if folks at home will just envision holding a knife, and if you're in a defensive position, for somebody that's not trained with knives, you might grip it so that the blade is running in this direction and you're stabbing. Just think of the old movie Psycho. And so you're stabbing like this. This gives you a downward trajectory. Even though in the image that you see of the two of them side by side, he's dominant. And even in the image in the elevator, in that moving image, he's significantly taller than her, and she's reaching up to punch him and to hit him and that sort of thing. Even in that motion like that, when she swings at him, you can see that is kind of demonstrative of a downward strike. So if she's holding a knife and she goes in like this, then she can do quite a bit of damage holding the knife. Not throwing the knife, though. It's going to be superficial at best. And certainly for somebody that might have her strength in order, or lack of strength in order to be able to facilitate this. He's a big guy, Vin, and he's very thick through the chest too. She would have come at him in a rage, and I worked a lot of cases over the course of my career with kind of familial, relationship violence, things like this, and knives are always the worst. And it's a very intimate form of homicide because they're trying to rip the person apart.
Do you see any significance, though, in this case where it seems there's the one stab wound. We're not talking about an entire series of stab wounds. You mentioned the movie Psycho, and the image is multiple, and that's not necessarily what we're hearing here.
No, and I think that it's been kind of a progression in this case. We've got what at least appears to be some level of domestic disturbance within their relationship over a period of time. It's just at this one point in time, she chooses allegedly to arm herself with this knife. And this is another thing in domestic events like this. As investigators, we look for what are referred to as weapons of opportunity, those things that are at your fingertips. It's not like she would have been walking around with a serrated kitchen blade in her hand. She essentially grabs this thing from the shelf, or maybe it's in a knife block, who knows, and begins to wield this thing. And as she's striking at him, you know, we can see her throwing hands, as folks say, in these moving images that are there. All you got to do is put a knife in her hand, and that will get the job done.
And before we run out of time, we have less than a minute right now. The 911 call is made. Emergency responders get there. He doesn't make it. Are you surprised that they weren't able to save him here?
No. No, he would have had to have been at an emergency room. They would have had to have opened his chest and gone in and tied that vessel off. It's one of the most lethal areas, other than perhaps and I'm talking about the viscera of the chest, other than maybe a strike to the aorta or the pulmonary artery, hitting the subclave. You're in a real dangerous area there, Ben.
Joseph Scott Morgan, Jacksonville State University, Body Bags Podcast. Always great to have your insight. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben.
Okay, when we come back, is Courtney Clenney a victim herself? We'll try to answer that question when we come back.
Did a customs agent commit cold-blooded murder?
Marsha Thompson is accused of fatally shooting her husband as he's lying on a couch.
She's claiming self-defense, alleging that Terry Thompson repeatedly threatened to kill her.
So what really happened inside this home?
Now, a jury will decide the fate of this law enforcement officer.
And Court TV will bring it all to you.
The Abused Wife or Murderer Trial, weekday mornings, only on Court TV.
It was very toxic, and I knew from the beginning that he was not treating her correctly. I saw proof with my own eyes. I heard calls between them, calls to my wife. I heard many things that a father who loves his daughter very deeply should never have to put up with.
That's Courtney Clenney's father testifying at a pretrial hearing. But what he's saying is absolutely true. This was a toxic relationship. I've compared these two to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Like it's to that level where things get really bad, really violent, and there's, you know, certain things that they are ingesting into their bodies that are amplifying some of these feelings and actions. So it's clear that this was toxic. The question, though, is in fact Courtney Clenney a victim of Christian Obumseli? Take a look at this, because this will make you scratch your head a little bit. This was a statement from Frank Prieto, her attorney, after she's arrested. Courtney was seeking treatment for her PTSD and related issues to this case, and it is an absolute injustice to charge a victim of domestic violence and human trafficking with a crime. Courtney was clearly defending herself. We will vigorously defend Courtney and clear her of this unfounded and baseless charge. Some of that is normal stuff that is said by defense attorneys. You know, we'll clear, they're innocent, all of that. But claiming she's a victim of domestic violence and human trafficking. And we know what she was doing on OnlyFans. So what is the allegation here? It's not the only time we have this allegation. We also have it from Courtney Clenney herself. 2 days before that knife ends up in Christian. They'd been having a lot of incidents at the place where they lived. The neighbors wanted them out because of all the fights. But take a look at what happens in the lobby and listen to what Courtney Clenney is asking for.
I feel like I am being covered.
All right, so what do you want to say?
I want to be like, I want to be like exonerated, I guess, of like anything wrong. And I want him, okay, the police are here. I want a restraining order against Christian Gonzalez.
We don't issue those.
Because, no, I'm serious.
To courts.
Can I do that?
You have to go to court. You have to go to downtown.
How can I make myself first? Because I know him and he would do it. How can I make myself first?
You got to get there first.
175 Northwest first.
Before
175 Northwest.
Is he already on the way?
We have no idea. We don't even know how it looks like.
We don't even know who he is. How do we know that?
So you question this. I need a restraining order against him.
Okay, you hear all this?
Listen.
Okay, they're listening.
Who's on the phone with you?
Just my dad.
Okay, well, let me
Which I think is
let me explain to you something with your dad on the phone so you could hear me. You asked me, how can I get a restraining order against him? I answer you, we don't issue those. That's through court. You asked me, I need to get one before him. I told you, the only way is for you to get to court. Then you asked me, is he on the way already? And I asked you, I didn't even know how he looks like. You understand? Your questions are making much of an...
I am... Right now, like, I have not always been a victim, but, like, right now, I'm a freaking victim in the situation. I'm scared to go downstairs and walk my dogs. I just walked them and I told them, you don't have a chance, and now, all of a sudden, this is all happening.
What's his name?
Christian Tobecha Kuobam.
Christian?
Please, just, like, don't get me kicked out of my own apartment.
And you have to remember, she's the one who rented the apartment. It's her apartment. He's living in there with her, but it's her apartment. She's spending $10,000 to $12,000, somewhere in that range, per month to live in this very posh apartment complex. But again, the neighbors want him out because of all the fighting. So what's going on here? Let's bring in some more experts to answer this question. Criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, certified domestic violence expert, and registered nurse, Marie Pereira is with us. Also joining us, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, and columnist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Great to have you both here. Marie, what are you seeing? What are you hearing in this moment? Because this is, you know, less than 2 days from when a knife ends up in Christian Obumseli. She's talking to police about wanting to get a restraining order.
I think she, in this instance, appears to be using the system. Courtney Clenney doesn't strike me as a person who's truly a battered woman, because typically women who are battered to this extent where they're claiming they have some sort of PTSD, battered woman-related syndrome, they have low self-efficacy. They're not in charge. Their self-esteem is low. They're not in control. She seemed to be the person in control of that relationship. While I agree that there had to be some bilateral toxicity and mutual abuse, she, in the videos that we saw thus far, seemed to be in charge of that relationship, which is at odds with a woman who's claiming, I'm a battered woman and I had no self-esteem, no control in this situation.
Dr. Carol Lieberman, what are you seeing and hearing from Courtney Clenney? Again, this is 2 days before Christian Obumseli gets a knife in his chest.
I see a woman who knows that she has to provide an alibi beforehand, similar to how after the killing, she went to Hawaii and checked herself in for PTSD and abuse, substance abuse. You know, she presumably told them that the PTSD was from domestic violence from Christian. But I think that this was all setting it up. I'm not saying that 2 days before she knew she was going to kill him, but she was trying to set herself up in general as a victim, and clearly she's not. She doesn't fit the profile of an abused woman. She's very entitled. You know, she feels that she is entitled to everything. You know, people who are influencers have this kind of strange psyche, this strange sort of way of relating to the world. They are sort of caught up in their own so-called fame or influence, and they live in that world, and that it's hard for them to sort of operate in the real world. They're kind of still, you know, expecting to be worshipped by everyone, like feeling like they are on camera still. And I think, you know, we've seen this before, and I agree that she's like Amber Heard. I was thinking of that. She's a more violent Amber Heard.
Marie, I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at the nature of the structure of the relationship. She's the one bringing in all the money. How much, if at all, do you think that impacts this whole situation in this relationship?
It impacts it a lot, and I agree with Dr. Lieberman, because she was in control. She made all the money, and he was sort of like, to me, a boy toy to her. And most of the arguments they had were centered around him looking at other women. She was jealous, she's insecure, but she was the one doing, you know, all of what she was doing on OnlyFans. Let's face it, he couldn't have been doing it by himself. She was the draw to the money and to the views. So she felt like, you know what, he had no right to look at anybody else, talk to anybody else, and if he did, he would face a wrath. Most of the arguments were like, you were talking to her, you DM'd her. It was all about control. Jealousy and rage is not a defense to murdering someone. So I hope that she comes up with something better than that, because if we're going according to the videos, and videos really, sometimes they don't lie, she was the one controlling that. She's just a jealous, manipulative person, and she killed him because he was checking other women out, and that's that.
Our guests are staying with us. When we come back, we're going to take a look. How many times was Christian Obenseli attacked by Courtney Clenney?
I'm not, I mean, we shouldn't be together.
You guys have a history of domestic violence?
Yeah.
You say you've been together how long, sorry?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
2.5 years.
So how many incidents you think you've had?
I don't know, but we shouldn't be together.
We say 1 or 2, or just too many to?
Oh my God.
No?
Oh my God. I haven't touched my ankle. It's like wet blood.
There she is being interviewed after putting a knife in Christian Obenseli. She doesn't know that he is dead at that moment, I don't think. But you can see, the question is like, how many incidents? And she's like, well, I don't know. Well, it's a lot, folks. We're gonna go through a timeline of the incidents and the attacks on Christian Obenseli that we have been able to uncover. But there are obviously more, but these are some that we've been able to uncover. Let's begin. July 27th, 2021, while in Las Vegas, Courtney Clenney is arrested for domestic battery while she and Obenseli, Christian, were staying at the Cosmopolitan Casino. This came after she threw a glass at Christian while he was laying on the couch at 5 in the morning. When police came, they interviewed both. Take a listen.
More of the story, like I was on the couch, like she threw the glass thing on my face. Then I went back to bed. Like, I was like, why'd you do that? Okay, I go to the bed. I understand that she was mad, you know. But I wasn't doing anything. I was on the couch.
Did you remember throwing the glass?
No, I don't. But that sounds like me, so.
That sounds like me. You know what sounds like her? October 9th, 2021, Courtney stabs Christian in the leg. Like in this case, this is not the only time that she has stabbed him. Stabbed him in the leg October 9th, 2021. Next day, following night, Courtney Clenney locks Christian out of their room after hitting him in the head with her phone. There's a whole bunch of text messages back and forth. Take a listen as our producers read them.
The crazy thing about all of this is that yesterday, when you stabbed me in the leg and you saw how bad it was hurting me and I couldn't walk, I couldn't do and you were telling me I wish I could have taken your pain away. I wish it was me and not you. The next morning, I still woke up happy. I still gave you a good day even though my leg was hurting because my girlfriend stabbed me. So you're telling me you can't do the same thing the next day and say, whatever happened last night, today's a new day, because that's what I do for you. I woke up happy. I took you to Vegas to get your drove right back, helped you shoot, drank with you, did blow with you, just so you're having a great day. And I'm doing all of this while my leg hurts so bad. Did I make you feel like for stabbing me? No, I just sucked it up and hope tomorrow will be better.
If you decide to get security, call. I will tell them exactly what happened.
Hey, I'm sorry. If it's okay, can I come up? I know you said 5 minutes, but I've been in the restroom, my nose is bleeding, and the back of my head hurts. Like really hurts. I don't know if it was your hand or the phone, but I'm really dizzy.
I'm putting your stuff up. You can come get it when I say you can. Go to first aid.
They had to take me somewhere. My shirt was off walking through the casino so I wouldn't get blood on it. Can you open the door, please? And you were pounding the phone on my head when I was done. It's okay, but can you let me in? I don't feel good, please. Courtney, can you open the door? I don't feel good and there's a bump on the back of my head. Can you just let me in? I'll be on the couch while you're in the bed. I don't want my nose to bleed, and going back and forth downstairs to the restroom is making me nauseous. I'm getting anxiety and you know how I get. Can you please let me in? And help me, please? We don't need to say a word. I haven't ate and running on 2 hours of sleep and drugs. Please open the door. Courtney, I don't feel good. Open the door for real. This isn't cool. I have a lump on the back of my head and I'm dizzy and anxious. And I can't keep walking up and down when my leg hurts. Come on. Courtney, can you come get me? I'm not feeling too hot and I need to lay down with this ice pack. I can't see straight. I've been sitting in the restroom for an hour. Courtney, this is up. I have a lump on my head and I'm bleeding and have anxiety. Can you answer your phone? Courtney, can you let me in? You hit me in the face with the phone, then continue to hit the back of my head with the phone. Now I have a lump. I'm bleeding, throwing up, think I got a mild concussion and have anxiety. I slept in the restroom for 2 hours and I'm just beyond words. All I hope for is a better tomorrow. Can you let me in or not? I apologized before you said you were kicking me out and you spit on me. No matter how mad and tough gets, you don't treat the one that you love that way. State fairs tomorrow. Be ready.
Well, I'm sorry, Christian. I hope you're okay. I'm sorry for hitting you in the face and the back of your head and spitting on you. Is it right? No. You just pissed me the off, but I still love you. I don't know about the fair anymore. Maybe I'll have a change of heart after some rest. The latch will be off. I'm going to bed. Don't say anything until the morning. We can talk then. I just read these texts, and I'm truly very sorry for responding like that while you were in pain. I should have let you in clearly. I didn't realize you might have a mild concussion. I should have just come back with the medicine. I love you. I'll be back soon.
Dr. Carol Lieberman, what's going on here?
Well, if we didn't know who was saying what, you would think that he was the woman, that he was the victim of domestic violence. I mean, but I want to make sure it's clear. Men actually are victims of domestic violence so much more than people realize, because they don't want to report it because they're embarrassed to admit that they're taking this abuse. But just looking at those texts, he's playing the role of the victim. Those are typically, typically what the victim of abuse says. So, it's clear that he has been long time the victim. One wonders, it's really amazing, just like when it is a woman who's the victim, she keeps coming back and people always ask, well, why does she stay with him? One could say the same thing with him. Why does he stay with her? I don't think it's just a money thing. I mean, he was doing crypto, what do you call it? Bitcoin. And I think he was making money too. I don't know maybe she was making more, but.
Oh, she's making a lot more, trust me, a lot more. A lot more.
Okay, but I don't think it was just about the money. I think it was a sick relationship that they need. And she, by the way, is borderline, just like Amber Heard was borderline. And so what they are most afraid of is abandonment.
Marie, they're in Vegas in July. She's throwing a glass at him, and then police come. Then we go to October, stabs him in the leg. He's complaining about that, and then smacks him in the head with the phone, and then locks him out all night. What are you hearing from Christian in all of this?
He's a battered man, like Dr. Lieberman says again. People think that you have to be a woman to be battered, to have low self-esteem. He has no self-esteem, and he is suffering from battered man syndrome. She locked him out. She beat him up. He's begging to come back. And these text messages are going to come back to haunt her from an evidentiary standpoint. They're going to use it against her to show that she had to be the aggressor. She was the one abusing him. So therefore, she cannot turn around and say she was an abused person, because none of those texts say, and you punched me first, you dragged my hair around, or you scratched me, you violated me, that's why I hit you. There's not even anything there to even show that it was mutual physical abuse. Maybe he mentally tormented her, but the physical abuse, based on these texts that Court TV is revealing, she was the aggressor, she was in charge, she beat the hell out of him and treated him like he was a battered woman.
And again,
wow.
We know that she is making the allegation that she is the victim, not only of the domestic abuse, but the initial statement released when she was first arrested, that she was also being trafficked, a victim of trafficking by him. I'm still trying to understand where that is coming from, but we'll see. Here's what we're going to do. We've got more of this timeline to go through, folks. This is not all of the abuse that we've been able to track down that is documented. We've got more videos like this to show you when we come back.
One of the most successful true crime TV shows ever.
This is crazy.
Now has a new home on America's original true crime obsession, 48 Hours, on Court TV. Coming up next on Court TV.
A former ballerina charged in the death of her husband.
Will the jury see her actions as self-defense?
She killed my dad.
Or murder.
The Black Swan murder trial. Live coverage next week following jury selection on Court TV.
Don't touch me!
What is going on? Like, what are you gonna get this mad at me when I'm apologizing to you?
No, Christian.
Like, you're thinking I'm doing it on
Drop your attitude. Drop your high pitch.
Okay, I'm not doing it on purpose.
You trust the alright. You know well the right thing to do is to tell me.
Yes, and I am so sorry.
So shut up and let me slap you.
You're not gonna slap me.
Give me my phone.
You have your phone.
I don't have it anymore.
Find
it and charge it.
What?
Shut up and let me slap you. Now, we don't have the date of that particular recording, but we have more to get through as we take a look at the toxic relationship and the attacks on Christian Obumseli by Courtney Clenney. These are things that are documented. You can see it, you can hear it. We go to January of 2022. Christian Obumseli goes to the hospital because he needs stitches. Courtney stays out and then cheats on him. There's some text messages back and forth about all that. Let's take a listen as our producers read them.
Hopefully, this will give you time to think about your actions. Enjoy the hospital. Tell them your side, then I'll tell them what happened.
I'm not saying anything.
LMAO. You should.
I'm going now. I'ma say football incident.
And then leave me the alone. Okay? Have fun?
Baby, can you come with me? I lost a lot of blood.
Let me know how it goes. See you later.
I really, really hope you didn't cheat on me, Courtney. I really, really hope so. I'm so scared. I don't know where the you are. And you slept or you're somewhere else at 4 in the morning and you don't contact me? I was in the hospital looking forward to seeing you and you go drink and leave with someone? When your boyfriend is passed out on the bed getting stitched up because I lost too much blood?
I love you so much, Christian. I should have been at the hospital with you, and I should have slept next to you as I always have. I'm truly, genuinely sorry that my actions hurt you so deeply. That was not my intention. But it's reality, and I have to do what I can to make it right. I don't think something like that deserves a second chance, but if you do stick around, I think we can be happy and make each other happy if we just try harder. I don't think either of us wants to do life without the other person. I'm so sorry and have deep regret for putting you and us in this position.
And it continues. We go on to February of 2022, and this is the infamous elevator incident that we have seen. Clenney is seen attacking Christian in the elevator. Now, this elevator goes directly to the apartment. And in my interview with the defense attorney here is saying, listen, she was trying to get away from him here and wanted to keep him out of her apartment, and he kept following her in to the elevator to get into her apartment. That's their explanation for what you're seeing here. But obviously, a lot of people have a different take on what's taking place inside of the elevator. Also, we move further in February of 2022. They didn't take a trip to Aspen. And Courtney Clenney, again, can be seen attacking Christian in Aspen while they're on a content trip. So they're creating content for social media. Let's take a look.
I was sober for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And now why am I not sober? Because of you. You're hindering my progress.
You need to sit down. You need to sit
Let go of me. Let go of me.
Come on.
Let go of me.
Okay.
Come on, boy. Let go of me. Like, I can't even, like, I was trying to hit you later. Like, get the off me.
You don't want to hit me?
Christian, he saw me, and I know he's looking. I'm like, fed up with you. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with how you treat me.
Courtney, you
yes, I'm not mad at you.
You let Milan say some line that affected you.
I didn't let her say anything.
I didn't say
you did.
Hey, let's go to Milan right now. Let's pull up her.
No, I'm just gonna hear the scenes.
No, she's in the group chat. Let's put her on the phone right now.
I dare you.
Yeah, you dare me? Keep saying
you
it.
Do it.
Then stop saying it then.
Do it.
Then stop saying it then. Then stop saying it then. Come on.
Let me get my
Ask her. Ask her, did I touch her breast yesterday?
How instigative he is?
No, you're telling me I touched her breast yesterday when I.
You did. I didn't say touch it.
You said I did.
You were leaning. Yo, you were dumb as. I actually don't want to be with you. Actually, I'm done.
Okay.
Can you send him home?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm done.
Okay, fine.
Done. Because you're costing me money. I didn't do. He's like, I'm in this house because of you.
You let Milan say some line that.
No, because of you. Flirting with like 3 girls the whole time.
What 3 girls? What 3 girls? You?
Well, maybe
you
matter.
You.
Milan.
Milan? I was flirting with Milan?
And she's saying, hey, come get your mans. She's trying to come home with me.
You're lying.
No, I'm not.
You're lying. She said, come get your mans that I was trying to hit on Milan? Come on, baby.
Okay.
That doesn't even sound right.
Christian, you're fired.
She just fired him. By the way, that's not behind closed doors because there's someone else there who is recording that with video, and she knows there's someone else there. This incredibly toxic relationship. April 1st, 2022, there's another altercation. This is the one where she's asking for that protective order. She's trying to get a restraining order against him, but she's just talking to police about it. Her dad's on the phone with him. That's in the lobby. And then you move forward to April 3rd. That's when Christian is killed and gets a knife in the chest. And again, she is claiming self-defense in all of this. Let's bring back in our guests, Marie Pereira and Dr. Carol Lieberman. Marie, I'm just looking at your reaction to what you've just seen. I mean, the one in Aspen is not even behind closed doors. There's someone else sitting there watching it and then recording it.
It's heartbreaking because you see the love bombing, you see the gaslighting, you see the disrespect. She actually called this grown man a boy. She slapped him in the face and said, get out of here. The lack of respect to me I mean, I don't want to use the black and white thing, but I wonder if this man was a white boyfriend if she would have called him boy. I take that so personally, to call a grown man a boy, spit on him, order him out of the room. To me, he was so the victim. He was so the traumatized one. My heart breaks for him, his family, because this woman was the abuser in this case. And like Dr. Lieberman said, most men are not the abusers, so they're too embarrassed to talk about it. And here we are looking at the entire thing. Thank you, Court TV, for what you do, because this is a lesson that men could be abused too. My God.
Dr. Carol Lieberman.
Yes, and it teaches men, or this should teach men to speak out, to get help, to not be ashamed. But, picking up on the boy situation, I was thinking the same thing. She treats him like a slave. And when she said, "You're fired," it's like he's her servant, her slave, and she's firing him. But what's so interesting is that first of all, she's like sadistic with him, in the text and how she acts and so on. But I think that a lot of that is, at least unconsciously for her way of doing the absolute worst she can in words, in actions, beating him up, all of that. Because she's really getting back to the abandonment as a borderline. She's so afraid that he's going to abandon her that she does the very worst to him to try to prove to herself that he's going to stay with her. She's testing him each time. And the time that he was murdered, that was when he went to a sandwich shop and he was too long for her liking, and she suspected that he was flirting with somebody, having sex with somebody, doing something with somebody, some other woman. And the incident happened 13 minutes after he got in the door. So she was there before that, building up the rage. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's cheating on me. And then he walks in, and 13 minutes later, she stabs him.
Marie, when I look at what's going on here, there's a lot going on, obviously, but some of the factors I look at: young age, lots of money, lots of drugs. I see that combination kind of amplifying everything that is happening in all of these situations, because she does not strike me as someone who is not under the influence of something in all of these moments that we're watching. Even this moment in the lobby, she seems like there's something is off.
Yes.
There's nothing off with her. She feels entitled. And again, I don't want to use the race card, but she's just like a blonde-haired white girl who's with a black man, and she feels like, you know what, she's entitled, and he should be all over her, kissing her all over, doing everything she says, following orders, and being almost like her love slave. If anybody was being trafficked, maybe it was him, because clearly he was not in control of this situation, and he is the victim here. The videos don't lie, the texts don't lie. I hope she takes the stand, because the prosecutors are going to have a field day with her own words, her own actions.
I'd like to thank both of you for your insight and your time tonight. Marie Pereira, certified domestic violence expert. Dr. Carol Lieberman, board certified forensic psychiatrist. I know your time is valuable, so we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Before we go tonight, folks, please take a look at your television screens. We have a missing child. This is Bertha Evangelina Aranda. Bertha is missing out of El Paso, Texas. Only 14 years old. Here's what you need to do. Take a look. If you see Bertha, please pick up the phone, make the call, 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the El Paso Police Department in Texas. That phone number is on your screen. Let's see if we can get Bertha to a safe place tonight. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.